Alright guys, I'm back with my review of this week's episode of TNA Impact Wrestling for November 8th, 2012. And this was the go-home show for Turning Point. And I thought it was a pretty good show. They did a good job building up the pay-per-view. There was a lot of stuff on this show I liked. We got some good matches. I'm glad the focus at the end of the show was on Austin Aries versus Jeff Hardy. But a lot of the show was built around the Aces and 8's angle. And it starts off with Luke Gallows, who is now Doc, the Director of Chaos. And the leader of the Aces is telling him, I think it's the leader, I'm not even sure anymore, is telling him that because he lost his mask, he's got 1 week to prove himself, that he deserves to be a member of the Aces. Even though Devon lost his mask and nothing happened. And Devon tells him that Hogan's got a match later with Sting and Angle versus any members of the Aces, and he thinks they should take that match. So the first match we get is AJ Styles versus Bobby Roode. James Storm comes out for commentary. This was a good match here. AJ kicks out of the Fisherman Suplex. Bobby Roode goes to get a chair. James Storm starts to walk down the ramp. This distracts Roode. AJ dives on him, throws him back in, goes up for the springboard, and Bobby Roode knocks his legs out, covers him, gets the win. Backstage, Austin Aries is telling Hogan that he doesn't want a ladder match at Turning Point, and Hogan says the ladder stays, and Aries has until the end of the night to give back the title, or he's going to find a replacement for Turning Point. Why not just take the title now? The guy is right in front of you. Just take it. So Kurt Angle is talking to Wes Briscoe about timing. Sting comes up, does his usual freak out, crazy guy promo. Joseph Park is in the ring, and he talks about how great it felt ripping the mask off that member of the Aces. He still wants his match. He begs Hogan. Hogan comes out and says that Park was very lucky, and he doesn't want to put him at risk. Bully Ray comes out, puts over Park. Hogan agrees. Joseph Park versus Doc is added to Turning Point. And that was it, really. Park hugs Hogan and high-fives Bully Ray. Backstage, ODB challenges Tara and Jesse to a match tonight. This was a pretty funny segment, I have to say. AJ is pissed off that Storm was allowed to do commentary during his match. Storm comes up and says he will kick his face in Sunday. ODB versus Tara and Jesse. Tara and Jesse do this thing where they skip to the ring, and I noticed this last week too. Jesse really hates doing this. He doesn't mind doing the Hollywood gimmick and everything, but you can tell that when he's doing the skipping, he just doesn't like doing that. I think that's where he draws the line. But it was your standard comedy match, really. ODB hits the Bronco Buster on both of them. She spears Tara, gets the win. Afterwards, Jesse distracts her. Tara hits her with the flask and hits the Widow's Peak on her. And they pour the flask out onto ODB, which I actually thought should power her up. And that was it. And afterwards, ODB calls Eric Young, leaves him a voicemail saying he better be there Sunday. Now, I'm pretty sure Eric Young's contract is up with TNA, and he's probably going to leave the company, so I'm not going to be surprised if they drop the Knockouts tag titles this Sunday to Tara and Jesse. Like it really matters, like they have more competition for these two. They really just need to retire those belts completely. The gut check judges are talking about Christian York, and they make fun of each other's jackets. Kurt Angle and Sting versus Doc and Devon. Sting gets Doc in the Scorpion. Devon attacks him with the bat. Bully Ray runs out, clotheslines Devon. He brings in a table, but Devon escapes and Bully Ray chases after him. Doc goes to put Sting through the table and still can't. Sting is still fighting this guy off. So I did think they kind of could have built Doc up a little bit better than they did. He just didn't look very strong. He looked like without the Aces, he's nothing. And I thought that was a bad move considering they just unmasked him. So the Aces come out. The leader, I guess, hits Sting with a ball-peen hammer. And Luke Gallows puts him through a table. And then the leader hands Doc the hammer. And he just starts beating the crap out of Sting with it. His hands, his body. And they really put this angle over. I mean, they probably replayed this whole thing 6 times, maybe. Something like that, with Sting needing medical attention and being carried to the back. It was a whole big thing. But I actually thought the beatdown of Sting was well done. I really expected them to do more with the Doc character and kind of make him more of a badass. But here, it just came across to me like he was really weak without the aces. He couldn't win a match. Sting was hit with a baseball bat and was still fighting him off. Christian York's gut check. They all say yes to him. Brooke Hogan and Bully Ray are talking about something, and then when Austin Aries starts coming around, they walk away from each other. I have no idea what this was about. Hogan is on the phone trying to get an update on Sting. Joey Ryan comes up, talks about how he's going to become the new X Division champion Sunday. He beat RVD. And Hogan says that Morgan's not allowed in his corner on Sunday. Matt Morgan gets in Hogan's face, says you don't know who you're dealing with. They walk away, and then Hogan says, "Oh, but I do know." Ha 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 ha. Like, really creepy. Magnus, Daniels, and Kazarian versus Samoa Joe, Hernandez, and Chavo. This was a good match. I like this one too. Daniels actually does the side dance during the match. Match breaks down, turns into chaos. Samoa Joe gets hit with the clothesline leg sweep combo. Magnus hits the elbow for the win. Afterwards, Kazarian puts on Hernandez's bandana, which I thought was pretty good. Bobby Roode says that he's happy Storm and AJ are at each other's throats. Makes his job easier Sunday. Austin Aries comes out and says that Hardy calls himself the best wrestler on planet Earth. And he says that's an overplayed phrase. That now everybody wants to say they're the best in the world. And that he's the best in the universe. And he's going to take both titles Sunday. And he's going to melt Jeff Hardy's title into a belt buckle so it's right next to his crotch. He refuses to give the belt back and tells Hardy to come and get it. So Jeff Hardy comes out. They start fighting. It looked like Hardy goes for the twist of fate, but Austin Aries escapes, kind of. It was really weird. I don't know if that's how it was supposed to go. It kind of looked like he was supposed to take the move. But anyways, Austin Aries leaves the ring. Jeff Hardy puts the belts up on this thing. They go up in the air, and he climbs the ladder. And then Austin Aries runs back in, knocks the ladder over, and then puts it on Jeff Hardy and climbs to the top himself. So I thought that was a great way to end the show with a focus on the championship match. And I do think Jeff Hardy's going to keep the belt. I don't think Austin Aries has a chance here, especially with him looking strong at the end of the show tonight. Pretty sure Jeff Hardy's going to keep the title. But I do have to say that Turning Point is looking like a pretty good pay-per-view so far. I think they have some good matches here. A lot of filler matches, though. I mean, I'm not going in here thinking this is going to be the greatest pay-per-view ever. But I think the three-way, the ladder match should both be very good. The tag match should be okay. I personally don't have any interest in it. But it should be a good match. But yeah, there's just a lot of filler with Joey Ryan versus RVD. That could go either way. I expect it to be average. What else do we have here? Doc versus Joseph Park. And Devon versus Kurt Angle. So I think we could have a couple good matches Sunday, but overall I'm just expecting it to be average, really nothing spectacular or anything like that, but maybe TNA will surprise me Sunday. But anyway, that's my review of this week's episode of Impact. I'll have my predictions for the pay-per-view up a little bit later tonight. So that's it. Hope you guys like this video. Leave your thoughts on this week's show in the comments below, and thanks for watching. Bye.